A few weeks ago, I had my first experience staying in someone else's apartment through the home exchange or home swapping service called Kindred. Going into it, I was definitely pretty curious about how it would go, so I figured I'd make a quick video and I'll kind of break it into chapters. First of all, what are we talking about here? At its core, it is a home swapping service that is relatively new. I think it started in 2022, but it seems to have grown pretty quickly just through word of mouth and their referral program. I do have a referral link and I'll put it in the description. But at this time, it is invitation only, and even with the referral code or invite, you still have to get approved by the Kindred platform. They have like an application process where you upload pictures and videos of your home and your address. I think mostly just to verify that your home is an ideal candidate. Like they kind of have to vet it and make sure that it's in an area where they think there's going to be demand for home swapping there, as well as trying to weed out like rental properties. At its core, they try and foster a community, and you kind of have to make a Kindred profile, which is kind of like online dating. It differs from Airbnb in the sense that it's purely home swapping and there's no financial exchange between the host and the guest. They kind of have a separate credit system, which I'll talk about in a separate chapter of like how it works and whatnot. And Kindred provides basic services like toiletries, handling the cleaning process before and after guests come and stay at a host's place, host protection and liability, just in case, I guess, there is a bad guest for the host. They really just facilitate the logistics of the communication and cleaning and member verification, stuff like that. So how does it actually work? Though there's no financial exchange between the host and the guest, they do have a credit system which allows for home exchanging and home swapping without the need for every swap to be a one-to-one home swap. They do have one-to-one home swapping, which is where if you're going to be at someone else's place, they are going to be staying at your place for the same dates. And that doesn't cost any credits, though I do think you have to pay for some service fees and the cleaning fees before and after your stay. On both fronts, the service fees and the cleaning fees, they are a lot cheaper per night for longer stays, just because you always have to have a cleaning fee for before you check in and after you check out. That's just something that Kindred always does for every exchange or stay. For the credit system, it's pretty simple, where if you're hosting someone and they're staying at your place, you get 1 credit per night. And if you're staying somewhere else, it is also 1 credit per night. So because of that, I think it kind of lends itself to a younger target audience, and the homes on the platform tend to all be like 1 or 2 bedrooms. Maybe you can find a 3-bedroom if you're lucky. But just because it is a simple 1 credit per night system, there's no incentive to hosting if you have a family and you have a large 6-bedroom, 4-bath house, for example, and you host it, you'd only earn 1 credit. Whereas if you have a 1-bedroom apartment or studio and you host, you also earn 1 credit. So I think when I look on the platform and look at other profiles and the homes that they have, it tends to be young professionals, 1-bedrooms, studios, sometimes 2 bedrooms, and rarely a 3-bedroom. Also, if you are young and you have roommates, you would be able to host and join this platform, but only if the entire household is okay in onboarding with Kindred. They don't offer things like Airbnb where you can stay in a single room of the house, for example. You cannot buy credits at all. You only can earn credits by hosting, and you earn 5 credits just from signing up the very first time, which is very nice. And that's basically what I did, just because it gives you a chance to try out the platform as a guest before you decide to host. Though the eventual goal is for every member to host as well as being a stay, since that's kind of the whole point of their home swapping platform. Every time you book a stay, the host always has approval power. So the host basically specifies the dates that they are not going to be in town and are willing to host, and then they basically approve the guest based on their profile. I'll share some screenshots of my profile, but they really prompt you to share information about yourself, what you do for work, your hobbies, etc. So it's really community based, and when you're booking the stay as a guest, the host can elect to do a video call with you to kind of vet you, just to make sure that you are a good candidate as a guest. There are other home swapping services like Home Exchange that I briefly looked into, and I will say that Kindred seems to be a little bit more on the expensive side, just because they are more involved throughout the process. They have a concierge where every message that you send to the host as a guest and vice versa is monitored through with a concierge, like a member of the Kindred team is like also like kind of viewing it. And same with that intro video call where they kind of vet you if they chose to do that. So it could be like a 3-person call where it's the potential guest, the host, and the Kindred employee. Let's kind of switch gears and talk about my experience as a guest. So as I said, you do get 5 credits when you apply and are approved from someone's invite link. So I'll put mine in the description. But basically, that's how I was able to try it out without hosting yet. So after I applied, I got approved like within 5 days or so. And then I looked for some apartments to stay in because I was going to be going to San Diego just to visit. And I will say the amount of homes on Kindred is definitely less than those on Airbnb. For President's Day weekend, there were probably only around 3 homes available for that weekend, and I was looking probably 4 months in advance. I didn't really need that many options just because I was kind of looking for a 1-bedroom place for me and my girlfriend, and that was available. It was definitely pretty interesting just because it is much more personalized in the sense that it's kind of like how Airbnb originally was before all of these bigger rental companies kind of started using Airbnb and like buying out entire Airbnb buildings, essentially, where everything is pretty custom and there's some quirks. I say custom in the sense that when we arrive, there are little post-its explaining, there's some quirks here, feel free to use this Bluetooth speaker, stuff like that. And you can tell that the home is lived in, and you put post-its up saying, this is my personal closet, like please don't go in here, stuff like that. And overall, I really liked the experience just because it was a little more immersive and a little more character, I guess, to the stay, as opposed to something that's a little more sterilized and washed to be the same experience every time. So I really enjoyed it. Of course, because it isn't as standardized, there might be a few more quirks, or you might have to do a few different like chores during your stay. So I've seen online, some people say on certain days you have to water their plants, or you might have to feed their fish. You're kind of subject to how they live, which is pretty cool in my opinion. It's nice to be able to go to a home and there's spices and you're not just cooking with only salt and pepper, things like that. Now, most importantly, even with the cleaning fees and service fees, it was significantly cheaper than it would be if we were to book our own Airbnb or a hotel. In our case, for 3 nights, it came out to just over $100 per night, which is significantly cheaper than any other Airbnb or hotel alternative for those dates in the area. It was a great trip, and I was pretty happy with the experience as a guest, and they really do foster a sense of responsibility on behalf of the guests. Like before you check in, they remind you, treat it like you are staying at your grandma's house and she's not there, stuff like that. And they do provide a little thank you card where you can write messages, and they do encourage you to provide a small thank you gift to your host. So I thought it was a cool experience, and I got that sense of community that I think they're kind of encouraging. Now, as a guest, I was pretty pleased with the experience, and I kind of saw the services that Kindred provides, like the toiletries, bedding, etc. And I definitely was interested in becoming a host, which is what they want all along. They do offer free photography for your home, so that whenever you list dates for your home, it looks nice and attractive and all of that. So that's currently where I am at in the process, where I'm having the Kindred photographers come out and take pictures of our place, which is a great free offering. And then hopefully we'll host soon. Granted, I understand that it is pretty daunting, I guess, and you don't want to have a stranger in your apartment. So I will be probably vetting the potential guests pretty closely, and I almost certainly will take them up on the opportunity to do a video call with them prior to them staying at my place. Overall, I think the concept of moderated home swapping and the credit system that Kindred offers, as well as their services that they provide is pretty interesting. And I think I'm kind of opening up to the idea. At the very minimum, I do think it's worth just trying to sign up and apply just to get the 5 free credits just to use as a guest, because as I said, my trip to San Diego was significantly cheaper than it would have been. I'll put my referral link in the description, and hopefully you guys found this interesting, and I'll see you guys next time.